extension with wide receiver Nico Collins. The Texans wide receiver room getting a little more crowded this offseason with the addition of Stephon Diggs, but Collins was an outstanding player for them last year. They think he's a big part of their future. They signed him to a 3-year contract extension that reflects that.
Yeah, Graz, as you mentioned, coming off a great season, nearly 1,300 receiving yards last season with ranked 8th in the NFL. His new teammate Stephon Diggs was not far behind him. And despite missing the final 5 games of the season due to a season-ending leg injury, don't forget, Tank Dell had over 700 receiving yards, which makes the Texans, get this, the only team in the NFL with 3 wide receivers who had at least 700 receiving yards last season. Head coach DeMeco Ryans had this to say about his talented trio.
We want to put defenses in binds. I think with those 3 guys, it allows us to do that because they're so different, right? And they can all do different things. But at the end of the day, they are all explosive finishers with the football, right? And that's what makes those guys great players. They can win on 3rd down, and they can finish and get in the end zone. And that's what we look for at all skill positions on offense. So having 3 receivers there, it definitely opens up the playbook for us, and it puts a lot of stress on the defense.
Yeah, but this is so exciting. So I guess maybe not if you're on the other side of the ball, but offensively, what does this look like to you with this particular trio in H-Town?
I mean, it looked like they should go out and dominate, Hannah, especially when you look at the premise that you make your biggest leap from a performance standpoint from year 1 to year 2. So let's apply that to the quarterback, C.J. Stroud. How good was he last year? He was unreal. He should be even better this year. Now you bring in Stephon Diggs to go with Nico Collins, who you just paid $24 million a year, and the most explosive guy was Tank Dell. They should be outstanding. Here's my one concern, guys. My one concern is not the 2 guys that were there, because Nico Collins and Tank Dell, they understand. They've been in the system. But when you bring a guy like Stephon Diggs in, and let's be honest, Stephon Diggs was a little bit of a problem in Minnesota. He was a little bit of a problem in Buffalo. How long do we think before he's a little bit of a problem in Houston if he's not getting the ball? That's my only concern. On paper, this looks phenomenal, Graz and Lewis, on paper. But if he's not getting the touches that he's used to getting from Kirk Cousins, from a Josh Allen, how soon does Stephon Diggs lash out? Because the chemistry on that team is the one thing that you cannot corrupt for a young team. Those guys are all in, and DeMeco Ryans has that ear. You don't want to bring an outsider in, which is what they've done. And they've taken a chance to try to get to the next level. So, Graz, can Stephon Diggs step up and be what he didn't do in Minnesota or Buffalo, and that is a team player?
Right. Well, I mean, it is worth noting that, for most of the time he was in those places, he was highly productive. And there were flare-ups, obviously. They've been well chronicled, and it's the main reason he's not in those places anymore. But remember, the Texans did something after they acquired Stephon Diggs. They adjusted his contract. So there's only 1 year left on it. So he has a great deal of incentive to perform at a high level, to put, to leave whatever issues that might have existed in previous stops behind him, and to give it, everything he's got for this year, because, he'll be 31 in November. He's probably going to want one more big, relatively big free agent payday. And, I think he probably wants to try and win the Super Bowl, and Houston's suddenly a place where people feel like they can go and gives him a shot to do that. So I think it seems like a mutually beneficial pairing, especially when you consider the state of the contract as they amended it.
Yeah, very savvy move, by the way, by Nick Caserio, one of many, starting with the drafting of C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson, and then building upon the success of last season. Lewis, coming from the business side of football, as you do, just kind of lay out the big picture as Nick Caserio has built this team.
Yeah, he's done as good a job, Hannah, as you could possibly do. I mean, this organization has nailed it with the hiring, starting with the hiring of DeMeco Ryans. And DeMeco Ryans hiring a guy like Bobby Slowick, who no one really had any idea how he would turn out in terms of being a leader and a play caller for a rookie quarterback who was 2nd overall in C.J. Stroud. I mean, those are big time hits right out of the gate. And then when you bring a guy in like C.J. Stroud, who is able to get this offense up and running, at the direction of Bobby Slowick, and get guys like Tank Dell and Nico Collins on the same page and Dalton Schultz on the same page. And then you bring in a Stephon Diggs to supplement that. And, when you continue to add in the draft with a guy like Cade Stover, who you drafted in the 4th round out of Ohio State, to kind of make their tight end room even better. And you bring in Joe Mixon. And then on the defensive side, you see the guys that they have on that side of the ball too now with Will Anderson and Danico Autry and Daniil Hunter. And then I'll tell you what, here's another name. Just remember this name as we, run these clips of Stephon Diggs, and we should run those clips. But just remember this name. Remember the name Azeez Al-Shire, who they signed from Tennessee, who was in San Francisco with DeMeco Ryans. We talked to Azeez last year before the Monday night game between Tennessee and Miami when he was with the Titans. There isn't a more respected guy in the NFL right at the command and control center at linebacker. And Azeez just absolutely adores DeMeco. Their leadership structure in Houston is rock solid. That's why, Boog, for me, I have no doubt that, look, Stephon will fall in line. He will fall in line because if not, he's going to have a whole bunch of alphas in his ear immediately. Don't mess up what we're doing down here. Go ahead and get yours, but fall in line because we've got something special, and you have to give Nick Caserio a lot of credit for all of that.
Yeah, I was going to.
Okay, so let's talk about this. I love what the Houston Texans are doing. Absolutely. I think this extension with Nico Collins is great because it establishes the hierarchy within the wide receiver room more than anything, quite honestly. But also, obviously, locking down Nico and doing it so in a way that just, you take care of your business. Right? Like, you don't play these games. It's not, is he gonna, or you not? What are you doing? Oh, we want to incentivize him. No, you just take care of it. Make everyone happy. You have a great young team, and you want to support a great young team as much as you possibly can. And that's what the Houston Texans are doing. They went out and got other weapons to even take off some of the pressure off of a Nico Collins, rather than just being like, well, hey, Nico, we're going to pay you all this money. Now go make it happen. Instead, they said, hey, well, you know what? We got Stephon Diggs too. We're going to now, which hopefully should make things a little bit even easier for you now. Like, we know how great you are, but we want it to be even easier for you so you can be even greater. And same thing for CJ Stroud. A lot of teams will be like, hey, we got this great young quarterback. We'll be able to make it work. Like, we're just going to focus on him, and it doesn't matter who's wide receiver. But instead, the Houston Texans are like, no, let's build this up. Let's establish a better run game. Let's keep bolstering our defense. Like, let's take the pressure off of every single player, essentially. When you can relieve some of that pressure, no matter how great they are, it helps you. Again, this is what the Kansas City Chiefs even do for Patrick Mahomes. And they kind of got criticized for not doing this last season for him. And that's why they went out and said, okay, let's get some more wide receiver support there for him. You always want to support the leaders of your team, the players that are leading your way. When you put too much on their plate, no matter how good they are, it's just sometimes you're just asking for too much. And to me, that is the perfect thing that the Houston Texans are doing. They're not asking too much from any individual player. They're not asking any individual player to put on the Superman cape and be Superman. And to me, that is a recipe for success. I think the Houston Texans, the sky is the limit for them. No question in my mind. I think that they could absolutely turn themselves into a juggernaut. And the question is with Diggs in terms of like, how will he fit in there? Listen, first off, I believe in the brilliance of their OC, of the culture that they've established there. I mean, they did it very quickly, but it's a positive, connected, winning culture. There's no questions. There's no doubts. There's no, right? Last season when they lost, it was never like, oh, was that just luck? Did we just go on a run? It was like, no. This is the new Houston Texans. This is now what we expect from this franchise. This is what we expect from us. We are the real deal. This isn't a fluke. That wasn't a fluke season. That wasn't an easy schedule season. We are here. And to me, that's really established. And that's the beauty of the Texans is saying, okay, we reached here. Rather than just assume that we're now going to go here, let's be here and add a whole bunch of other guys so we can damn near guarantee we're going to get here. And to me, that's awesome. That is what a lot of other teams don't do. And I've seen great teams do that, whether it's the Eagles, whether it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, we've seen the good teams do this. The 49ers, They didn't need Christian McCaffrey, but they said, let's get Christian McCaffrey. It ended up being a pretty big deal. It ended up putting them over. The Rams didn't need technically OBJ, Von Miller, but they did. Pretty sure that ended up being a pretty big deal for them. And so, to me, with having Stephon Diggs there and some of the question marks surrounding him, around his personality, the signing of Nico Collins does a couple things for me as well. Because one, it establishes, he's the dude. So you need to kind of set you need to be okay with that, okay? That's what this is. And if he's not, because we know he's going to be, he has to. Unless he's so delusional and so far gone, not many teams are going to want him. Because if he causes an issue, his next contract would be a show me contract. You better hope Andy Reid would be willing to even be open to signing you for a show me contract, for a prove it deal, I mean, right? Because otherwise people are going to be like, you've had trouble now with back-to-back-to-back organizations. Sure, if the Carolina Panthers want to pay you a whole bunch of money because they got nothing else going on, well then congratulations. You get to just go off into irrelevancy. But if you want to get paid, if you want to win, then you got to prove that you have a great personality, that you can be part of a winning culture, because no one's going to look at the Houston Texans as being a problem. They're going to look at Stephon Diggs. You could make an argument, well, what was Minnesota doing? He was unhappy. Kirk Cousins, he's not a good enough quarterback, which I disagree with. But, that people can say that. You can create that argument. And then same thing with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. You could say, what's going on there? The Buffalo Bills keep dropping the ball. They can't do anything. They can't get past the Chiefs. Like, what are they doing? Is Josh Allen really that good of a quarterback? Should Sean McDermott be fired? Yada, yada, yada. Right? You can kind of technically make that argument, which, again, I disagree with. I think Josh Allen's an elite quarterback, although I don't think Sean McDermott is an elite coach. But you can see those arguments. Now with the Texans, if he has a problem, nobody's going to take Stephon Diggs aside. Not one person around the NFL is going to say, well, yeah, you're with the Houston Texans. What did you expect? Right? They gave OBJ the benefit of the doubt because they said, well, you're with Baker and you're with the Cleveland Browns. You're with a failing organization for decades. So, yeah, we don't blame you for having problems there. Right? They totally forgave that. And same thing with the Giants. They said, Eli Manning is at the end of his career. The Giants are doing nothing but floundering. Again, they gave him the benefit of the doubt. Stephon Diggs has no more benefit of the doubt. So unless, like I said, unless he's just so far gone and delusional, there's no way that he can't be on his best behavior. That he can't do everything he can to support CJ Stroud and support Nico Collins and support Tank, like support just the organization as a whole. Because one, he wants another contract with probably another team, because I just don't see how again, I'm no salary cap expert, but I don't know how the Texans would be able to pay him what he would want. So again, he either wants a big, massive payday, which means he has to ball out. He has to do exactly what the Houston Texans ask from him. And he has to play winning football. Winning football. He can't just put up just empty numbers. He needs to be winning football. Then he will be able to get that contract. Or he wants to win. And then on that case, he also needs to be part of a winning culture, because he then needs to be able to show that he can be there, that he can do that he doesn't have to maybe be the number one receiver, that he doesn't have to lead the team in yards or receptions, and that he doesn't have to get paid the most amount of money. And if that's the case, then again, depending on how the season unfolds, how the where other teams are at the end of the season, then if he does want to maybe take like a shorter deal, because again, if he's really trying to chase a ring, maybe he does go to the Chiefs, the Ravens, stays with the Texans because he's like, all right, we either won a championship or, we made it to the AFC championship game, or we made it to the Super Bowl, we were so close, I want to stay here. So again, to me, the causes and conditions for Stephon Diggs to have a great, productive season, along with having a great attitude, is all there. It'll all come down to, does Stephon Diggs know what's going on in his life and in his career, or is he delusional? I don't think he's delusional. I really don't. I would be very surprised if he was so delusional that he would be causing problems with the Houston Texans. And I totally agree. I just think the culture there with the Houston Texans can actually absorb that. If there was any issues, it would be like, get in line or get out of here, right? It would literally just be like a one strike, like, here's your one chance. You're either going to stop with the nonsense and be a productive member of this team, or we do not want you here. Goodbye and good luck finding another team that wants you. Again, go play with some team that has zero chance at winning. Congratulations. And so I just think that the Texans are kind of protected in that regard. So I think they're poised to have a smashing good season, y'all. I really think the Texans are just going to. I think they are legitimate contenders. I really do. As long as everyone stays healthy, then I really believe I can't see the Texans taking a step back. I don't think CJ Stroud will take a step back. I think this is an incredibly balanced team, a well-coached team on both sides of the ball. You have a lot of mature pieces. You have happy pieces. I think they're just ready to go. I really, really do. I would be surprised at anything short of at least an AFC Championship game appearance, unless the Chiefs are rolling and it's a luck of the draw the way how the seeding unfolds and they play someone like the Chiefs first round or something like that, or whoever ends up winning the Super Bowl. That's the only situation that I could see, because I think the Texans are right there, and I think they absolutely have the chance to not only get to the Super Bowl, but win the Super Bowl. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Nico Collins extension, setting up the Texans to be the NFL's next powerhouse? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.